Hi, I'm Dr. Mark Lewinter, licensed acupuncturist at Metro Acupuncture in Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm here with my lovely co host, mom, and acupuncture partner, Dr. Andrea Lewinter. Mom, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Mark?
Doing great. You excited about today's topic?
I'm very excited about today's topic. It goes to the heart.
It sure does. So, the topic is practice what you preach. And as acupuncturists and practitioners of East Asian medicine, we have a lot that we're excited to share about. And many of us have had awakenings around this medicine where it has provided a profound sense of relaxation, pain relief that has happened quicker than it normally would or we ever could have imagined. Chronic issues like headaches, we have personally and professionally been able to see that improve quickly. The philosophy of East Asian medicine uh, is vast and it spans thousands of years. So there's a lot that we can preach about.
We can be very preachy.
It'd be very preachy. But there is a danger in practicing what we preach. And there's a difference between knowing something and applying it. And that's an ongoing journey, I think, for everyone, including acupuncturists. So I wanted to just, like you said, from the heart, talk today about the term practice what you preach in the context of us being healthcare practitioners and how that can affect the relationship that we have with our patients when we're more in line with practicing what we preach and when we're less in line with practicing what we preach. And it's a continuum. There's what we all have good days and we have bad days. So I wanted to kick us off with that topic.
Excellent, Mark. And it's so true. If we're congruent with our words and our behavior, our patients recognize that. They can see it, they can appreciate it. And I think there's a level of trust that's built with that. Also, it gives them the opportunity to say, yes, I can do this too.
Definitely. Yeah. The things that I like to preach are things that I think are attainable because I have had significant awakenings with East Asian medicine, like I was sharing, a deep sense of relaxation, feeling a sense of rest like I never had, a calm. Okay, so I've had those experiences. Why am I not seeking out acupuncture on a regular basis? Or why am I not at least giving myself acupuncture on a regular basis? To change the subject a little bit, when I was in my late 20s, I had a 1967 Ford Mustang, and the thing always seemed like it was needing some help in some way. Something was breaking, or something needed to be adjusted, or fluids needed to be changed. It was a classic car, and I sought out a mechanic, and he had a Ford Mustang himself, a classic Ford Mustang, and I think he had I had a 1967, and I think he had a 1965. And I remember asking him, like, how often do you change the oil? He has a garage, and I imagine he was doing it more frequently than I was. And he said, it's been years since I've changed the oil. And I know, but you're changing oil in cars every single day. I'm doing it exactly at 3,000 miles. How is it you possibly could go years? So I can see how it happens, and we all know the term, "The shoemaker's children maybe don't have great shoes." And it's I think it's part of the human experience, but it can feel very personal, especially for me, because we all want to have health. And when we aren't healthy, when we're sick, we can appreciate how important health is. So I know that many of the principles of East Asian medicine, such as making sure that we aren't overnourishing ourselves, making sure that we're getting exercise, getting good sleep, having good relationships, the list can go on and on. We know that when we are more in line with those principles, when we were able to practice what we preach, that we feel better and we can give that experience to others. But we're just human and we're affected by our culture. And we got into this medicine because we had a profound awakening, but we didn't anticipate that part of practicing acupuncture would be running a business and working with employees or managing employees or having to pay bills or managing a professional life and a personal life. So it becomes really complicated to practice this and practice what we preach. How have you found it to be in your life?
Well, one of the things that I often will talk with patients about is being mindful. And in today's world, there's just so many things that are coming into us that we feel as though it's urgent. We're on the phone, we're managing calendars, we're not only managing one calendar for all events, as we're managing our children's calendar, we're managing a relationship calendar plus our own. We end up with 4 or 5 places to look to see if we can arrange a dental appointment for ourselves, you know? So there's just a lot of things going on, and it's hard to be mindful of all of these things. So I always encourage people, even if it's just for literally, even if it's just for a minute before they take any action, is just to sit down, feel their feet on the floor, take a few breaths, and become mindful of this moment because this moment is not going to happen again. One of the things that I often say is we're all in practice. This is not something we're going to get a diploma for if we really get good grades. It's a day to day, moment to moment practice. And I'll use this example, a personal example. I was scheduling a conversation I was going to have with someone over the phone. And I made the date and I checked my calendar and I checked the work calendar. I did all the things I say be mindful of. And as I was on my calendar, as I was cutting and pasting the date, I cut from one date and pasted it on the other, and I missed the week. Instead of the 22nd, I pasted it on the following week. I missed our call. Um, it was I not mindful? I was very mindful, and yet in that one moment, as I was cutting and pasting, I lost track. I lost track. So these are things that happen, and these are ways in which we kind of catching ourselves. Oh, you know what? I needed to slow down. There wasn't any rush. I needed to slow down. So that's a big one for me personally. And I offer that because I see when patients come in, they're almost frenetic. It's like, I've got to go here. Some people will come in and we schedule for an hour and they'll say, can I be out of here in 20 minutes? So taking that time, bringing ourselves back down, grounding, it's simply a practice, a worthy practice, but a practice.
Yeah, exactly what you said. And with you talking, I am aware that it's practice what you preach,
Yeah.
not be perfect about what you preach. And it may seem I'm not practicing all what I preach at certain times, staying up late or eating many cookies because they're so delicious. I know that I shouldn't eat that much sugar. And there can be an aspect of arrogance when, as healthcare practitioners, we say, we know better and it's not going to affect us, but we're only human. So we do need to practice what we preach. It's not going to be perfection. And it can be a little bit like the weather. There are some days where it rains. Sometimes it rains for several days. In certain parts of the world, it can rain for several weeks, even several months. But the weather often changes. And what we're preaching, and we really try not to preach it because it's about a relationship. Like you were mentioning, a patient comes in and they only have 20 minutes. Well, a lot can happen in 20 minutes. It's when I have these fixed ideas about what someone's healing journey can be, that's when I feel like I can get in the way of their process.
That's
So
right.
if someone comes in and they only have 20 minutes because of all the things that are going on, maybe we can put in one needle and it makes a difference. Maybe we can just spend time with me feeling their pulse and them noticing that, oh my gosh, I'm missing heartbeats, or I'm feeling my heart in my chest and it's really rapid. And that moment of awareness, it just took a second, didn't take 20 minutes, uh, is a big awakening for them and moves them into something else.
Yeah.
So, well, not only when we practice what we preach, are we able to develop ourselves, we're able to share that experience with others. And a big part of me practicing what I preach as an acupuncturist is listening to the patient. And that takes time, understanding, compassion. But I think that compassion is important because I found that when I'm unkind to myself, I don't really usually learn anything. I don't feel good. And it's like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. But when I have kindness and empathy for my mistakes, my imperfections, my failures, I can have more insight to continue to practice. The word, I think, as I was thinking about this, I was stuck on the word preach. But the word I think that is most important here is practice. We know these things to be helpful, to get a good night's rest, to exercise, to have mindfulness. We know the benefits of acupuncture and how it can decrease inflammation and how it can improve function in several organs and how it can give one a deep sense of rest and improve sleep. We know these things. And sometimes we put them in the back seat or all the way deep in the closet because we don't feel like we need to practice it. And there's so much that this medicine has to offer, we can't practice it all.
That's right. That's right. And I think one of the things that you said, Mark, is we know these things, and so does our patient. I know you experience this too. We'll say, gee, maybe you need to hydrate a little bit more. I know I should. It's like, that's okay. It's like, now let's find ways in which you can be mindful and remember to take a sip of water. This is a something that I find very difficult is that one habit, is like drink water. I know it's good for you. And yet it was never anything that I did on a regular basis. There would be days that I wouldn't drink a sip of water from morning until night. So again, these are things that maybe we were not in the habit of ever doing. But yet we know that, oh, this is something important for the betterment of my health. And when our patients see that there's congruency between our words and our behavior, it builds that relationship. It builds that partnership of healing. It builds that relationship of trust.
Yeah, I recently, have been having a little bit of tenderness on my hip, and I have these liniments and massage creams that I suggest to patients all the time, and they're even in my house, but they're just sitting on my dresser. And recently I decided that I was going to practice what I preach.
Mhm.
And every morning I put one of the pain relieving cream or the liniment or a patch. I put it on because I know that if I do this regularly, it's an investment. And I believe that healing takes time. And I love doing acupuncture for acute conditions. I love doing acupuncture for chronic and acute conditions, but one thing that can be very exciting is when I treat an acute condition, the acupuncture can make the condition go away very quickly. And that's exciting. But most of what we treat, whether it be working with patients who have been diagnosed with infertility or patients who have chronic pain, headaches, migraines, the list goes on and on. Oftentimes, these are chronic conditions and it
Yes.
takes time. So recently I started applying regularly a medicine to my hip, and it was important to me to not forget. So it took time for that habit to build,
Yes.
and there were times where I was almost fully dressed and I said, "Oh, I didn't put that on." And I thought, "You know what? I want to build the practice."
Yes.
And and building that practice takes effort.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, it's so challenging is we know so much. We can see that there is almost endless effort that we could have, and you can't do it all. So I decided to have this be a practice, and now it's almost become closer to automatic, so that when I give the patient the cream and at that moment I give them a massage cream that can help reduce their pain or a liniment that can help reduce their pain, I'll say, try to put this on every day. And it can be very challenging to remember to do this. "Oh, no, no, I'll easily do it." And you say, like, I know. Now you feel like you're gonna do it, but if you can just try to do it every day, so that kindness and awareness, because I've been there. Another thing that I like to practice what I preach, and I mentioned this a couple different podcasts before, is I run every day. I think the benefit of getting one's heart rate up and moving the body is helpful for several body systems, and it's been my experience that I never wanna do it.
Mhm.
But I push into that each day, and I continue to have this practice of exercise so that when I am with my patients, I can say, I'd like, and they tell me that they're not exercising and they're expressing an interest in exercise. I can say in a very gentle way, I'd
Mhm.
like you to go outside, walk 5 minutes, turn around and walk back, and don't do more than 5 minutes. I think that when we're beginning to practice something new, it's important to start small to be successful and to build from there. So,
Doable. It's doable.
yeah, and we wouldn't, even though these are simple things that I'm saying, I wouldn't know them if I wasn't practicing
That's
them. So,
right. That's
this personal practice of what I preach has made me better, and it's not perfection, because I've certainly failed at a lot of things that I know that I, uh, should have done better.
right.
But that, I think, also makes me a better practitioner. So, I love that we have a job that is so personal, and that it really kind of the mirror can come up pretty closely to
Yes.
ourselves, because we want to be authentic and genuine, and to be in partnership with someone, we want that to be an authentic partnership. So,
That's right.
this is the job we have, and, this is today's topic, "Practice what you preach."
Great topic.
Great topic, yeah. So, I think that that's just it, and what we're expressing is that we're dedicated to our own personal health, wellness, and development, and we're not perfect. And we don't expect our patients to be perfect. And we do want to listen to our patients, and we do listen to our patients because they share with us where they would like to take their healing journey, where they would like to improve their life and improve their health. And
And and being authentic does in fact inspire them to do more. Going back to that relationship, that partnership in healing, they give to us, we give to them, and it's inspirational on both parts.
it really is. It's a wonderful thing. So, if you're in the Atlanta area and you're interested in experiencing acupuncture, come and see us. We look forward to meeting you and helping you feel better. We're Metro Acupuncture in Atlanta, Georgia.
Thank you for your listening.
Thank you.